Good day and greetings to all my fellow internet weirdos, and welcome to another episode of Sushi Bites. On April 6th, 2020, Pico Interactive secured the rights to games developed by South Korean developer Unico, or as they were later known, Uniana. You might not think that's such a big deal, but you know what? You're right, their output was absolute garbage. Except for the somewhat decent Dragon Master released in 1994 and their later franchise Silk Road. Maybe one day I'll talk about Silk Road. With any luck, Pico Interactive might release them down the road on modern systems. Down the Silk Road on modern systems. Unico are in the habit of bootlegging not only other developers' games, but also their own. The Master's Fighter is a bootleg of their previous title, Master's Fury, which, if I understand correctly, to this day still hasn't been dumped for arcade emulators, and it may never be. Where Master's Fury isn't readily accessible, the Master's Fighter is. This actually got released in a jewel case and everything, sold in Japanese stores. Normally I'd shrug off bootleg fighting games as not worth a discussion, but this game is something else. Unico ejaculated this bug-ridden splack onto the PS1 in 1997. The game looks and sounds like this. That's a yikes from me, dog. This was November 20th, 1997. The PS1 wasn't hurting for fighting games either. Before the Master's Fighter was released, the PS1 had entries in the Darkstalkers, Street Fighter, Psychic Force, Tobal, Bloody Roar, Battle Arena Toshinden, and Tekken franchises. Compare any of those to this game, and it is immediately obvious what quality we're looking at here, or lack thereof. The Master's Fighter has gameplay I'd describe as utter jank, with mechanics and controls impossible to tolerate. The game's sound effects and music are a drunken mess. The artwork is horrendous, and the in-game sprites are vile. Some of these sprites are noticeably stretched, and according to many sources, they are edited from or built off of sprites from other games. How did they get away with this? The opening FMV is noticeably extremely compressed, and contains about as many frames of animation as I have shreds of decency left. The instruments get so out of sync, they do an immediate fade out to try and hide it. A voice yells out, "The Master's Fighter," or according to the title screen, just Master's Fighter. I was immediately concerned when I discovered the main menu contained no sound effects. At first I wondered if it was an emulation issue, I mean something wrong with my genuine PlayStation console trademark Sony. They just decided there was no need for menu sound effects. I navigated to the top where I expected the game's arcade mode to be, and lo and behold, a language selector. Wait a second. You're telling me this South Korean developed, Japan exclusive fighting game bootleg has English text? Even more fascinating, I don't think it's that bad of a translation. I've definitely played way worse on the PlayStation when it comes to English writing. After waiting 1,000 years for the game to do the initial data save, I decided to throw caution to the wind and give story mode a shot. The character select shows us 11 fighters. There is a 12th one unlockable. Each character looks rather clean and presentable. The background is a bit rough, but now the logo says The Master's Fighter instead of just Master's Fighter. The roster of characters is not very appealing. Each of them edits, sometimes badly, of characters from other games. I barely got around the character select once before the music suddenly cut off, and then looped very poorly. One ugly transition later, we're in-game and what happened to the sprites? On the selection screen everyone looked somewhat decent, but now they're this. Grainy, poorly scaled sprites. The pixels aren't square, people! The pixels aren't square! The music immediately begins with sirens blaring, no doubt the video game police on their way to Unico's offices to arrest them for this garbage. I noticed almost instantly that this 2D fighter from 1997 is running at 30 frames per second when all its contemporaries ran at 60. Control is stiffer than rigor mortis morning wood, attacks appear to have zero decent reach, and the constant alphabet failings of Michelle, wonderfully spelled by the way, makes me want to reach for the power switch. The match clear screen shows us a now completely different looking Michelle. It also appears that she forgot to wear a bra on this crisp winter's day, but please nobody tell her. Let us have the little joys in life. It doesn't get much better. Here's a character called Long Way, which is oddly fitting as we're a long way from this game resembling anything acceptable. I still haven't figured out how to consistently pull off any moves. The game doesn't even appear to have a quarter circle punch move, which is pretty much a staple of 2D fighting games. When I got to the mirror match, I just lost it. The 2P colours for Michelle are just, oh yes, nice, marvellous, chef's kiss that shit, The fight also showed me that Michelle has special moves, but the game is just so garbage, and that's why I can't pull them off. I lost my first round here.
You low.
You lows? I lows?
You low.
I lows?
You low.
Excuse me? Next battle, Gamp. Profile picture, dark skin. In-game sprite, olive skin. Is that meant to be right? Bill here wearing pink, but his thumbnail shows a brown jacket. Oh, I see. All the enemies are using their 2P color palette. You think it can't get worse? Well, here's Bart Simpson. How does this even happen? I know what you're thinking. Calm down. Don't have a cow, man. Oh yeah? Well, these developers can eat my shorts. A few painful fights later, and we have the last two characters. Kane or Kine, whose brown hair is grey hair, thanks to this game's weird 2P colours. And T660, whose hitbox is a pain to deal with. Turns out he's the final boss, and when I'm done with him, an English language ending plays. Once again, Michelle looks completely off model. Did they even QA test this? A quick scan of the credits. No QA team of any description. That tells us a lot. Out of curiosity, I did one more playthrough, this time as a character named Jay. It doesn't seem to matter who you're playing as, the game is still crap. I'm amazed a game this bad dropped in 1997. I hope you found it half as entertaining as I did to take a look at this crap. I never expected to discover such a horrendous game existed, that a company could just so blatantly steal assets and sell the game in Japanese stores, or that a 2D fighting game would be released in 1997 that runs at half speed, looks like garbage, and plays like human killing machine. What a wonderfully weird world we live in.
You win.
Games I gave up on for whatever reason. Street Fighter 2 movie for PS1 and Saturn is a game where you watch the Street Fighter 2 animated movie and take photographs of the movie's fight scenes. This is so you can power up the Shadaloo Cyborg for a fight against Ryu at the end. It's as dull as it sounds, and having the Street Fighter 2 movie without Alice in Chains blurting out at a loud volume feels kinda fake in a weird way, despite the game presenting the film with its original Japanese audio. I didn't even get far enough to see the fruits of my labour, because who could honestly care to sit through a 90s movie in super compressed, worse than real media video quality, with confusing Japanese menus? A shame since the game features some fresh animation that doesn't even appear in the film. Couldn't even bring myself to play far enough to see Chun-Li's shower scene. I can only assume it's still in there. This has been Sushi Bites. Thanks for watching.